What is up guys, it's RJ here, and over the past 2 weeks the Pixel 3a has been my daily driver, the phone that I've been using for all my daily tasks, and I have to say I've come away super impressed. Even preconceived negative notions I've had about this phone, like the battery life, the display, and the mid-range Snapdragon 670 chipset have all gone out the window. We are going to dive into everything in just a second, but if this is your first time here on this channel, I would really appreciate it if you guys could leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel because that would go a long way in helping me bring better content for you guys. So this is the Pixel 3a, and on the outside most people don't dig the design, but for myself I love the design. It's quirky, it's different, and it doesn't stand out, just the way I like to live my life. It's like Google designed this phone based on my own personality. This white variant with the orange accent power button is by far my favorite color. But if this isn't for you, there's also a black color available and a definitely not pink color available, because it's definitely not pink, you know? From a distance, it's hard to tell the Pixel 3a apart from its premium counterparts. But a closer look at the phone reveals the polycarbonate body, which doesn't necessarily feel like plastic, but once you hold it in the hands, it sort of feels like plastic. It's kind of hard to explain unless you really experience it for yourself. Also, the glass protecting the screen is made of Dragon Trail, not the common Gorilla Glass series found across most smartphones. This phone also doesn't have an IP rating or wireless charging, but these are sacrifices that Google decided to make to bring us a budget Pixel device. And I personally think that they were the right sacrifices given the options. Over on the top, we have the ancient 3.5mm headphone jack, and a subscriber actually brought up a good point. He asked me why did Google decide to place the headphone jack on the top as opposed to the bottom where it would feel more natural. And I was like, you know what, that's actually a good question. I mean, I'm sure they had a really good reason for it, but at least we get a headphone jack, so I'm not really complaining. If we make our way over to the bottom, we have dual speakers, though only one speaker is bottom firing. Here's a quick speaker test comparing the speakers on the Pixel 3a to the dual stereo speakers found on the iPhone 10. If you don't mind front bezels, then you'll love the Pixel 3a with its 5.6-inch G-OLED display running a full HD plus resolution of 2280 by 1080. Keep in mind you aren't getting the same Super AMOLED quality found on the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 3 XL, but the 3a is still an OLED screen, so you'll still get those strong colors and those deep blacks. It's just that the resolution isn't as sharp as the flagship Pixel 3 devices. But the specs regarding the 3a don't tell the full story. You know how the saying goes, you can never flex with your tech judging by the specs. I'm not sure who says that, but they sound pretty cool to me. You have to actually use the device and get a feel for how it runs on a day-to-day basis. But I will go over the specs for all you spec nerds out there. The Pixel 3a is running Qualcomm Snapdragon 670 processor with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. If you're wondering, there is no option for expandable storage, and it's also packing a 3000 mAh battery. Usually with smaller phones, you expect the battery life to not be that great, but the Pixel 3a actually blew me away in that department. I was averaging approximately 5.5 hours of screen on time consistently every day, no matter how much I tried to push this phone. Honestly, I was surprised, but Google optimized the software so well that a 3000 mAh battery feels like a 5000 mAh battery on the 3a. As I mentioned earlier, the 3a isn't packing the latest and greatest processor. And even though the 3a is running a mid-range processor, it's hard to tell judging by how smoothly this phone runs. That's also mainly due to how well Google optimized stock Android to run with these mid-range specs. You've probably heard that stock Android is smooth from many different people on multiple occasions. And there is no other way of putting it. Stock Android is so smooth, and that's the only way to really describe it. There are no jitters when scrolling, there are no app crashes, and 4GB of RAM means that there are no app refreshes when multitasking between apps. The Pixel 3a is running Android 10, a pure Android experience, the same experience that you'll find across all Pixel devices. You'll also find some Pixel exclusive software features like the latest AI-powered features for Google Assistant, Google Duplex, Now Playing, and my favorite, call screening. Every time I go back to using a Pixel device, I screen all my calls, even if it's my own mom. Most of the times, the person calling on the other end thinks that the call went to voicemail and they immediately hang up. But for those that stick around, that's when the fun actually begins. Also, don't forget that this is a Google-made phone, so you are the first to get the latest Android updates as soon as they come out. Google has always been known for their great cameras, and since this is a budget Pixel device, it's natural to assume that the cameras on the Pixel 3a have been dialed back a bit. But that's where you're wrong. You'll find the same 12.2 megapixel lens with optical and electronic image stabilization with an f1.8 aperture, the exact same camera as the flagship Pixel 3 and the Pixel 3 XL. We also have the same AI-powered capabilities as the Pixel 3, including night sight, portrait mode, top shot, and super res zoom. The shots taken on the 3A pay close attention to accuracy with good highlights and detail preservation. The shots look very natural. They do sway a bit towards the cooler tones, so very different from shots taken from, say, a Samsung Galaxy device. The 3A is also capable of shooting video in 4K 30fps, 1080p 120fps, and 720p 320fps. So pretty impressive. Another way Google implements AI into its cameras is with the fused video stabilization feature, which is supposed to keep your video steady even if you're running. So let's put it to the test. Alright, so this is the video stabilization when I'm walking, and I'm going to be running in a few seconds, so get ready to run. 1, 2, 3, go! The Pixel 3a costs $399 in the US and $529 here in Canada. And I think it's a totally underrated and underappreciated device. I mean, sure, when it initially came out, it got a lot of praise, but that praise quickly died down with the release of the Pixel 4 and the Pixel 4 XL. The question is, should you buy this phone right now? Well, that's a tough question to answer with the Pixel 4a being right around the corner. But if you are in the dire need of a new phone ASAP and you cannot wait, get the 3a. You won't be disappointed with the great camera and the well-optimized software. As always guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch my Pixel 4a review, make sure you are subscribed and you have that bell notification icon turned on. If you made it till the end of this video, type hashtag FlexWithYourTech in your comments to let me know who you guys are. I'll catch you all in the next one. Don't forget to flex with your tech.